actually knew Dan,
Mm-hmm.
although he himself did not know Dan personally.
Sure.
And so he told me about how that blog, the Prof's
blog, yeah.
Yeah, so that's still up because Dan Markel's friends are still keeping it active or keeping it alive. And so he told me, hey, if you want to try to contact anybody that actually knew him, you might start with those attorneys or those law professors that are on it. But as I mentioned to you when we emailed each other, another friend of mine who is a law professor at a different school, she just basically said that the law professor friends had already kind of agreed amongst themselves not to talk to the media because they didn't want Dan's death to become sensationalized. Or,
Sure.
but I kind of feel like, okay, I understand that. But on the other hand, this happened 8 years ago. And the people that are truly responsible for his murder, in my opinion, still have not been brought to justice.
Exactly.
I mean, hopefully it will eventually happen. But,
yes.
you know, I think the vast majority of people who have really delved into this case believe that Charlie Adelson was the mastermind along with his mother, Donna. And then Wendi probably had something to do with it.
Yes.
Yeah. So Donna and Wendi, and of course the father, you know, they're all still free and out and about enjoying time with those little boys.
Right.
That
it is horrible, yes. And I agree. And I think that the family of Dan Markel, they appreciate the coverage. They appreciate the fact that there's people out there that care for justice, that care that justice will be done for them. So I disagree with those professors. I think that, seeking justice for Dan is also very important. Now, I can understand that maybe they didn't want to make that a focus of the chat on the prof's blog. That shouldn't be. But I mean, I don't think that that it's right for them to not want to speak to anyone about it. Aside from that, I understand that the vlog should be the vlog.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I agree with you.
Yeah. I kind of feel like, it's not like we're just trying to make it all lurid on purpose or whatever,
right.
But it's a way to make sure that justice is served, due to public pressure and everybody knowing what happened. And, I mean, perhaps maybe we can help, spread the word, or, everybody that really cares about the Dan Markel case and what happens to those two sons, and, what rights his parents have to see their grandchildren. I mean, I think it's important to keep the news alive out there for more people to hear about it.
100% agree.
Yeah. Because, I mean, on my channel, I do have several videos about the Robert Wand murder, and he was an attorney in DC who was stabbed to death in the home of 3 of his friends. And those guys basically got away with it. And I have had a lot of difficulty trying to get people who actually were close friends with Robert to speak. I mean, granted,
are all 3 of them suspects?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and they're still out and about. One of the guys, Dylan Thomas.
And nobody was charged?
Well, they were charged with conspiracy or obstruction of justice, not with the actual murder, because the DC police messed up the collection of blood evidence so that, there wasn't really enough evidence to show what happened. And, with the 3 guys all being tight-lipped and not speaking with the investigators, I mean, how do you prove who committed the murder, who actually stabbed Robert? But, I mean, that's where, I found it frustrating that, I constantly asked people who knew him if they would be.
What was, if you don't mind, again, tell me, what was the name of the case? What was the name of the victim?
Robert Wone, W-O-N-E.
W-O-N-E?
Yes.
Robert.
Yeah.
Robert.
And I actually knew him when we were law students working in DC the summer of 1998. So that was my personal interest in it, in that I actually knew him. But again, it was so frustrating because so many people just would not even respond when I asked them if they would like to talk or be quoted in an article or come on a live stream, talk about your memories of Robert. And they'd all just say like, oh no, I don't want to, or I don't think I should. I don't think my employer would like it. I'm like, okay, fine. You say that you care about this person that was a dear friend of yours, or that you obviously knew better than I knew him. But, it's like, it's tough when people don't want to talk. So.
Yeah. And it is something that I think about when I cover these cases and I expose some of the raw materials, right? So I order public records and I get interviews with people who are not the accused, they're witnesses. And they have went to the police station, sat through an interview, were recorded, filmed. And, I struggle sometimes with the question of whether I should publish that or not and protect some of the private information there. And I've done that. And specifically, sometimes people reach out to me and say, hey, do you mind taking mine down? And I have taken that. I have sometimes taken it down. But I think it is important to, like I said, keep an eye on the whole system, keep a focus on the cases, on the crimes that are being committed, and on whether our justice system is working and whether investigators are doing a good job. All of that is important. And I think public exposure is important. And that's why many states and the United States in general have public records laws that make all this stuff available to the public. So just making it available that nobody cares to look at it wouldn't make any sense. To me, I think I'm doing a public service to bring in attention to those records that exist and are public for a reason, is to make sure that the government performs its job well, that all of it works the way it's supposed to work.
That's right. Did you ever talk with Dan Markel's parents or his sister?
Yes. I spoke to his parents, but I would keep that private. I met with them. I've spoken to, let me put it this way. I'm not going to say who, but I've spoken to several people directly involved in the case. And unless they asked me, they allowed me to, unless they had decided to be on my channel on an interview, I don't discuss it. But I have spoken to many other people involved.
Yeah. Okay, great. And once again, this is the type of stuff that the regular mainstream news media doesn't have the capacity to do. I mean, everything's just so superficial, like little sound bites, like a 2-paragraph news article, and then that's it. So so it's awesome what you're doing. So let's switch to, let's chat about Charlie Adelson first then, and his Asian fetish. So, I mean, first of all, I just want to mention that, hey, with all these hate crimes against Asian people all over the place, I'd rather have somebody that has an Asian fetish than someone that is anti-Asian. But what is disturbing was when I heard the testimony and the information during the trials, both the 2019 trial as well as the recent one against Katherine Magbanua, that he would go to Asia. And I mean, it was hinted that he would go to prostitutes, underage girls, and have sadistic sex, or, it wasn't flat out said, but during the testimony of Jeffrey Lacasse, who is Wendi Adelson's ex-boyfriend, as well as what June Umchinda was asked on the stand, it sounds like Charlie was real perv. It's one thing to be constantly dating Asian women in the US, but to be deliberately traveling over to Vietnam or the Philippines and going to prostitutes, screwing around with young girls that would probably be underage or illegal here in the United States, that's just disgusting. And even Jeffrey Lacasse said that he was just disgusted and taken aback because Charlie was talking about this in the hot tub with him in the presence of Wendi, who is supposedly like a scholar about human trafficking and cares a lot about the rights of women and, oppression and people being held in bondage, but she didn't care when her brother was spouting off about his experiences going to see these young prostitutes. So that's
I don't know if all of those details are accurate. Of course, I've seen pictures, and I think that Professor Lacasse has not gone into such detail describing what he heard in the bathtub, but he hinted at it being something horrible. And the pictures that I've seen are of him. Charlie Adelson and another guy with some very young-looking Asian ladies, apparently in the Philippines. I'm not sure where exactly. Maybe it was in the Philippines, or maybe it was Vietnam. I'm not sure. Obviously, I don't have the facts to say whether or not he was doing stuff with underage girls, but that obviously is hugely disturbing if he was. Now, that hasn't been fully investigated, and I don't have any proof of it, so all I would say is that I hope that he wasn't, and I hope that maybe he was exaggerating. I do think that I agree with you that it's good that he liked Asian women in general. I mean, I hate people that hate anybody from any particular background, and I personally think that there are very many very beautiful and smart and amazing Asian men and women that I met, even guys. I mean, I've met a lot of very handsome guys, and I know that a lot of American ladies like a lot of the Korean guys, for example.
Oh yeah, now thanks to K-pop being popular,
Yeah,
right?
with
Now
K-pop
Asian men are attractive.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, there is disturbing, at least allegations in a sense, or at least some information that hasn't been verified yet.
But I kind of think like since he does have this Asian fetish, and even his ex-girlfriend June, whose family is from Thailand, she said on the stand that he likes Asian women. But it kind of goes along with his obnoxious, overbearing, super confident, cocky, likes to be in charge, that kind of attitude, because that's kind of like the stereotype of some Asia-phile type of person, because back when I was in college.
Are you saying that stereotype is accurate? I don't know. I always try to treat every single individual as an individual. So are there more submissive Asian women than American girls? I don't know. I mean, obviously, I guess in general terms we can discuss it, but I think you can find submissive in any race, in any gender, in any nationality.
Yeah.
But do you think that stereotype is accurate? Do you think that he likes them because of that?
I think so. I mean, look at the women that he chose to be with. I mean, granted, we have this sample size of 2 that we know of.
Right.
But so with Katherine, especially, like, she's like lower income and always hard up for cash, and her baby daddy's like this drug dealer, possible gang member, does drugs, and maybe does some work in construction or whatever. But so it seemed like money was always an issue. And
money is an issue, but wasn't all the evidence that she wore the pants, though? I mean, that she was
once we hear her cursing like a swearing like a sailor and dropping F-bombs left and right, like it seemed like she wore the pants in that relationship. But I think like he probably thought that these young women would be easy to manipulate.
I think personally, just if you just judge, I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but if we judge June specifically just by the way that she talked in her interview, which is on my channel, the way that she talked on the witness stand twice, she seems to be specifically herself more of the submissive, maybe not so confident type of person.
Yeah, wishy-washy, girly, just wants to people please and say whatever is right.
And seems to care a lot about money and the purse. I mean, she walks in with that, high-priced purse. I mean, so she, as to her specifically, that seems to be a fair assessment. Katie, I'm not sure. I mean, she seems to, she was involved in a conspiracy to murder somebody, so she seems to be not very much submissive. She seems to be more in control to me.
Well, but maybe that's why his relationship with Katie barely lasted a few months, right?
Maybe, perhaps.
Like he just basically used her to get his brother-in-law killed. I feel like Katie was used, but she allowed herself to be used because she was so desperate for money.
I don't know if we can make those judgments with very little information. I mean, I think that's a reasonable conclusion to make, but if we were not there and we don't know them personally, it's hard to make those conclusions, for sure. Who used who. I mean, I think that she said on the witness stand twice, and I think that's probably accurate, that she understood that this was going to be just some kind of a fling. She knew that she's long-term with Sigfredo, and she was just pissed at him that he's a loser, whatever. So maybe she just wanted that kind of fling too. And maybe she was using Charlie as well. So I don't know. I don't like to make huge assessments without really knowing them personally and all this stuff.
Oh yeah. But that wouldn't be any fun if we didn't start guessing and pitching our own opinions, right?
Yeah,
so
I
of course the
understand.
disclaimer, this is just opinions. We
Just
don't know
opinions.
these people.
Right.
Okay, stereotypes are bad, right?
I
But
agree.
but just based on my own personal knowledge and
Sure.
being an ethnic studies major
And a divorce lawyer.
Yeah, I'm a divorce lawyer. I've handled tough custody cases. I did do a couple of internships in the criminal law realm with public defenders' offices. But so of course now here's a picture of Katherine, since we were talking about Katie here. And by the way, you are pronouncing her last name right, because I asked my Filipino American cousin-in-law, like, how do you pronounce this last name? Because one guy wrote a kind of mean comment and told me that I should know better and I shouldn't be pronouncing her last name wrong. So my cousin-in-law said she's pretty sure that it's really pronounced Magbanua.
So I got it right. Yes.
Yeah, so it should be pronounced Magbanua, but my Filipino American cousin-in-law also said that, but we don't know if that's how she really pronounces it, because there are plenty of, people from other countries, with their last names hard to pronounce. They'll just start pronouncing it the accepted way, just like my last name. Nobody pronounces it right, but I don't care, it's easier just for people.
How should I say your last name?
Oh, well, you can just say sing, like sing a song. Yeah.
No, how it should be.
It's really pronounced Zun.
Zun.
Yeah, kind of like a
Zun. Like a Z.
Like Zen. A J-Z-U-N sound. Yeah, Zun. Okay, yeah. Zen. But to just simplify things, I always just say sing. Nobody can pronounce it right. Yeah. So we can pronounce Katherine Magbanua.
Yes.
Now we got it right, thanks to my help from my relative. Right?
Awesome.
Yeah. So okay. So there's a picture of Katie. Of course, she looked a lot hotter in her Instagram or whatever social media pictures from many years ago. And so let's get back to June, though, because I thought it was kind of interesting after I basically stalked her Facebook and Instagram page to get more information about her. But I mean, what's your general opinion of her after seeing her testifying?
I felt sorry for her for the most part at first. I cannot comprehend how she's still hanging around Charlie. She seems to still not be sure about whether he's guilty or not. Still, even though he's in jail, she still seems to be unsure about the whole thing. So she seems more like a lost soul, and a little bit disappointed at her because I stepped outside of the courtroom and she was sitting there. She traveled up to Tallahassee from South Florida with with one or two employees from the Adelson Institute. They all stayed together. So they were sitting outside, and a reporter came to talk to her and ask her whether she would be willing to do an interview. And I think the first or second question out of her mouth was, "Is there money involved?"
Yeah, I saw that. Somebody commented on a live stream about that, about her wanting to make sure, or asking if she was going to get paid to talk to the media.
So I don't know. Just I guess not a great character.
Yeah.
And so whatever stereotypes you were saying, I guess she would fit more of that mold.
Yeah. I mean, totally. I mean, that's why she stuck with Charlie off and on for so many years.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wasn't really clear on whether it didn't seem like she was still really dating him this last go round at the trial that just happened a couple of weeks ago. It sounded more like Charlie was the one that texted her the night before he got arrested. It didn't sound like
I think, that even after the last trial, there were pictures of her and Charlie on Instagram. I think obviously she admitted on the witness stand that she really felt that he was going to be the one.
Mm-hmm.
And that, she emotionally hasn't broken that off yet. I think that she still likes the guy. Maybe Charlie's a charmer after all.
Yeah, but he sounds like such an absolute DIC character.
I know, because on the phone calls, he's talking to her like a little a-hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Fancy Fiction, I think, published one. I think it was her on her channel. You know that channel, right? Fancy Fiction.
Yeah, I saw that, where there's a recording of a phone call between Charlie and June, where June is mentioning how Charlie cheated on her when he went to the Philippines, and she saw, later on the stand, she said she saw some texts between him and the girl in the Philippines, and that's how she knew that he had cheated on her.
Yeah, and you know, poor girl. I mean, she's like, she can't even, you know, have a fight with the guy. The guy's like, hey, if you're not going to be fun, forget you. You know?
Yeah, and starts bringing up some totally different topic about her sleeping with some other guy, but I thought maybe that was sometime long ago.
It looks like that they had a breakup and they were supposed to be apart, and then whatever. It's like, yeah, what a messy relationship that seems to have been. But yeah, I think that she was definitely appears to have been in love with Charlie for some time and can't let go of the bad boy.
But I mean, she's got to be an idiot if she would even want to keep in touch with him. And then from what I read, it did sound like when she first testified at the, what was it, September or October 2019 trial of Katie and Sigfredo, she was back together again with Charlie. And that's why she testified so poorly. I mean, everybody should watch this video here of June Umchinda testifying back in 2019, because she looks like a complete idiot and very deceitful. You know, she's hiding something, just the body language and her evasiveness.
Oh, I see how you're matching the clothes now. I see.
Oh yeah, see, I'm wearing this magenta top in solidarity. Come on, girlfriend, you know who's guilty. Yeah, ditch that bum. You know, he treated you like crap. Grow a backbone. Yeah, tell the law enforcement everything you know. Yeah.
That's right. I wish you would. Yes. I mean, she might know more stuff, you know.
Yeah. I mean, just based on the questioning from the first trial as well as the most recent trial. I mean, even though June was trying to be wishy-washy and trying to act like, oh, I don't remember, you know, like she doesn't remember anything she told the investigators, even though they were actually recording her. Right. So, I mean, it's just very frustrating because she has more dirt on the Adelson family. And I did find through Google, there was some like silly, weird sounding essay that she had written for one of those, was it like New York Daily Post or Daily Mail or whatever? Yeah, she had written some essay praising the Adelson family. Of course, this was years ago, but talking about how they couldn't have possibly been involved in the murder of Dan Markel because these people are like the nicest people ever, such a wonderful family. I'm like, well, obviously, you know, you're totally clueless. You know, if she would still stick by that. I don't know. I mean, it did sort of sound like she was more doubtful of Charlie by 2021, probably because, you know, she knows he's already been arrested anyway. So what are the chances of her marrying this guy? If she even still had dreams of marrying him in 2021.
I know, you know, I guess she thinks that maybe he will be acquitted and it will all be shown that it was not him, that it was somebody else.
It's
maybe still hanging on tight to that. She'll say, well, maybe now he'll marry me now that I supported him through that.
Yeah, I was always with him.
No matter what, who's been there for you, Charlie?
Yeah, it's just insane, like how much of a liar she looked up on the stand, especially in 2019. But by 2021, I mean, she seemed a lot less nervous and didn't seem as totally clueless. So she seemed a little smarter, but she was still kind of backpedaling when Georgia Kappelman was asking her all those questions about whether Donna Adelson had made a comment to her about thinking that Dan Markel was still haunting her or whatever. You know, I mean, she still seemed to be wishy-washy, like just this selective amnesia. Still wanting to protect.
I think that she still, you know, still has feelings for the guy and still doesn't know how to think about all of this. And
and it's crazy because, like, just based on what I saw on social media, it looks like she's about 34 years old now. So, and she also has, her mom is still around. She has an older sister. Although I did a little sleuthing on the family, it looks like they owned the Thai Thai restaurant, which was pretty well known in a little strip mall. But then they sold that restaurant in 2020. And her sister seems to have also had maybe some issues too, because she went through a divorce and was foreclosed upon, got sued by the bank. And so I get the feeling that June's family is not that well off, just always working at the restaurant. And so, of course, the girls, were kind of materialistic and always wanted better. And her older sister's Twitter handle was something like Diamond Girly, Girli, And then June, of course, you've seen her Instagram already, where it's just full of all these like materialistic.
I actually have not. I've seen pictures that some people send me from it, but I actually never went in there.
Oh, okay. Well, here we go now. So you can see all these pictures. She has a dog. She's like obsessed with her dog and even has a separate Instagram page featuring Kiwi, what is it? Is it Pomeranian or something? And then there's her with her massive boob job, which looks very...
Oh, she also has one?
It's funny because I looked at the pictures and the timing of the boob job was most likely after she met Charlie. So maybe he paid for her breast augmentation surgery too with the same surgeon that Katie used.
He has a special deal where
he
sends them a ton of clients.
Maybe he got a kickback.
Regular customers, your way, my friend.
So that's her parents there. It's like an old publication featuring their Thai restaurant. And she's working as an executive leasing agent for this guy in this picture here on the left. And there she is posing with this picture. And in this picture of the Mercedes-Benz, it says, "Be the periodontist your mother wanted you to marry." So I guess that means that she's proud that she used her own money maybe to buy the vehicle.
Yeah, well, good job for her.
If she actually used her own money to buy it, good for her. But there was some sort of hint during her testimony about Charlie promising to buy her a vehicle. So I wonder, I kind of feel like Georgia Kappelman didn't go further and ask more probing questions when June was being evasive. So I kind of wonder, like, why didn't Georgia Kappelman bring out a transcript of her discussion with the police to cross-examine her when June kept saying she couldn't remember?
It is her own witness, so you don't want to destroy the credibility of your own witness too much unless you have to. Number one. Number two, she maybe had a list of points that she wanted to get across, and some of them were more important than others. So if it wasn't a huge point, she would just move on. You know what I'm saying? Instead of trying to impeach your own witness, you just move on to the next one. If it is not an essential point, what's the big deal? You bring the witness in for a few points that you want to make that you can use in closing arguments. And like I said, unless it is super important, if the person doesn't give it to you, you just move on.
I see. Well, I thought it was important for June to testify about the staples and the money and how Charlie always had tons and tons of cash in a giant safe, and he would staple his money, because that's a very weird, unique way of keeping track of your money. Because I've never heard of anyone.
But I think that the first trial, maybe she was the only one who said that, but I think in this one there was someone else. I can't recall right now who it was, but I remember someone else gave that testimony about the stapled money.
Okay, maybe Luis. I thought Luis Rivera also talked about how the money...
No, it would have to be somebody that knows Charlie.
Oh, like maybe one of his friends?
No, maybe Wendi, maybe one of his friends. I don't recall exactly, but I thought it came out somewhere else.
Yeah.
It could have been the defense witness, too, that said that.
I see. Okay.
But I think that she got enough of... I think that she got a slight admission about the staples as the testimony went forward. So
she finally did say something about that. Yeah.
So I think Georgia was satisfied that it was enough, because it was, it's not a humongous point. It's an important point, but she got enough that she could argue it. So then she moves on.
I see. Yeah. So these are just June's Instagram. Yeah, right. The boobs are real. The smile is fake. I think both of them are fake, right? There's no way.
I don't know. I'm not a specialist. I've never been. I don't know what fake looks are. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a specialist. So could it be real? I mean, I don't know.
I doubt it, because you can see her old pictures where she definitely doesn't look as busty. So there's Charlie with her, and yeah, it's weird. Like, she still has tons and tons.
I'm not a specialist on that, so
yeah, she has tons of pictures of Charlie still on social media. But yeah, I mean, you get this impression. Plus, oh, here's another side issue. So she won Miss Boca Raton Petite in 2020. And
congratulations, June.
Yeah, but that's really like a bogus, in my opinion, that's like a bogus contest, these beauty pageants. I mean, come on. I looked it up. You have to pay about 30s. Yeah, you got to pay $500 just to enter, and you also have to be willing to pay lots of extra fees, probably for classes or photography. So it's
just another scam.
Yes, it's just a big business. And what's even stranger is that I looked up the rules for that Miss Boca Raton or Miss Florida Petite or whatever. They say that the young ladies have to be age 18 to 26, but she was already like 32. She was already 32 when she won Miss Boca Raton Petite. So did she lie about her age? Or maybe they gave her a waiver on the age because nobody else was a sucker in Boca Raton to be part of that cheesy pageant. But it's so superficial.
Maybe they changed the rules for Boca, yes.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Or for her, maybe they said, no, you should qualify. You look 26.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you will qualify, but we need an extra $500 to waive this age requirement.
Oh, yeah, the waiver requirement fee.
Yeah. Hey, Fancy Fiction is here. Thank you so much. Fancy Fiction has an amazing YouTube channel. I just stumbled upon it recently. Thank you for covering the case too. Yeah, we need more people to talk about this case. Yeah, thank you, Tuan, for being here, and Skeeter Girl.
Hey, Skeeter, nice to see you.
Yeah.
How come there's no chat? I don't see the chat.
Really? You can't see the chat?
Oh, I can't see the chat. Oh, there you go. Okay, now I can see it. Well, hi, everybody. I guess it's good that I wasn't looking at the chat, because I would have been saying hi to everybody instead.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Now I see it. So I just opened it.
For caring about the case. Okay, so this is what June wrote. Me in my last relationship ignores 48 red flags a week because I love him. Me single. I don't like the way this dude types. Well, I hope she's become more discerning after being in this on again, off again relationship with a potential, murder conspirator, criminal type of guy that just uses money to manipulate people. I mean, it seemed like she was manipulated by his money, getting all those Louis Vuitton
I don't think that she let go yet. I think she still has some hopes.
That's ridiculous. I hope her mom or her sister slaps some sense into her.
I hope so too.
Yeah, that is just really sad. I mean, so I just thought it would be interesting if anybody cares. The advice I would give to June is, number one, do not communicate anymore with Charlie Adelson. If she is still in touch with him, that would be horrible.
Now, would this be legal advice or just woman advice?
No, this is just like a concerned fellow Asian American woman advice who is older than she is. I would tell her, you got to be crazy, okay? This guy is a loser. Oh, we didn't even mention that he got the nanny pregnant. Well, he was on again, off again. Supposedly they stopped dating for a couple of months. And during that time period, Charlie started something up with Bree. I guess that's the girl's name, Bree, who was Wendi Adelson's then boyfriend David's nanny. So he got Bree pregnant. And then he hooked up again with June, who was all happy, probably because she's getting more Louis Vuitton bags again. And then when the baby is 6 months old, then June finally finds out about this illegitimate child out there that Charlie had fathered with another woman. But she still got back together again with him anyway, because she was still with him back in late 2019. Yeah. And I just found it funny that just right around that same time that she was supposed to testify, she had either on Instagram or Facebook, like another picture of more Louis Vuitton bags. So maybe Charlie bought her the bags to make sure that.
I don't know, maybe she found a way. You said that she was working as a leasing something. I mean, maybe she's found her own success, but still has the feelings for amazing Charlie. Who knows?
I don't know what's so amazing about him, because like he cheats on her repeatedly. He fathered another child.
I'm saying like what she feels. I mean, obviously he's not amazing guy. He's a horrible guy, but in my opinion. But I think that she still feels something for the guy. I don't know why. After all of that, why should she have any doubt? I mean, she should be fully cooperative.
Yeah, I just wish that, well, I mean, at least as time goes on, it did seem like she had more doubts about Charlie when she was testifying recently during Katie's trial. So, you know, there's hope that June might see the light and realize this guy just used you. He played with your emotions. He is a psychopath. He's emotionally manipulative. He's dangerous. You know,
I hope he might not kill you. I hope he watches you and then follows your advice. You know, that would be nice for June. She seems like a nice girl, you know. Care a little less about the money, and, you know, develop some integrity, and maybe the right guy will love you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so on Facebook, she has tons of pictures of her and Charlie and them going to Cancun back in like 2016, going to Las Vegas, eating out, being on a boat, you know, like holding hands, her hand on his thigh or whatever, you know, the Louis Vuitton stuff.
So supports my argument that she still feels something for the guy. I mean, why would you keep that up there when the guy is in jail, in Leon County Jail?
Exactly. And I mean, all you have to do is Google his name or read, say, like 2 news articles. And any normal thinking woman would probably be like, I don't think I want to be associated with this type of person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this just horrible, you know, that she would still want to go back to him even after he cheated repeatedly. And she knew that he would like go on trips, at least to the Philippines or wherever, you know, being with a bunch of ladies. I don't know if they're necessarily prostitutes or not, but, you know, it sounded like Lacoste was hinting at that. So
maybe if somebody can convince her that she has a case of intentional infliction of emotional distress against Charlie.
So she can sue him and try to get at his assets before they are all subject to forfeiture or something, or taken to pay.
Yeah, maybe he'll concede the lawsuit. He'll say, yes, take it all. Before the feds get it or the state gets it.
Well, I did kind of wonder, you know, like, maybe the nanny got pregnant with him on purpose because she wanted to get child support or hook Charlie in. So, I mean, you got to give it to June. At least she didn't try to get pregnant with him, you know, to hook him in and try to force him to marry her or, you know, get a kid.
Well, we don't know that as a fact.
That's true.
Maybe she's unable to.
Yeah, maybe she tried to, but it didn't work. You know? Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, so we're a little envious here, right? Like, yeah, but see, this goes to show that people are lying on social media. People are exaggerating. They just want to put off some fake image, because if you saw June's Instagram, you would think this young lady has a perfect life. She has so much money. She's happy. You know, she worked at Hooters before. She was a Miami Dolphins cheerleader. You know,
what are you talking about?
June.
June was a cheerleader?
Yeah, she had a picture, an old picture, actually multiple pictures on social media of her and her cheerleader little short shorts and tank top.
She worked at Hooters too?
Yeah, but that was a long time ago. Yeah, but she was reminiscing about her time being a Hooters girl too. So it seems like she just loves showing off her body, showing off her legs and her big boob job, and, you know, just making it look like she has a perfect life. But in the background, we don't. I mean, well,
maybe that's what Charlie likes then, because, you know, Katie was also showing off, working in clubs, wearing scantily clothes, you know, whatever, tight skirts, you know, showing off the body. So maybe that's what he's attracted to, the girls that like to show off their body.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, he wasn't going out with them for their wonderful personality and intellect, right? So, okay. No, I mean, I think it was hinted in Jeffrey Lacoste's testimony, because he said something about underage or very young girls.
Very young. Yeah, I think he said very young. I don't think that he mentioned specifically underage.
Yeah, but nobody actually said pedophile or child molester or whatever. Yeah, so... yep, it was more lying and just putting out a fake image on Instagram.
Hi, Tuan. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, Donna said, Okay, well, June's family is from Thailand, so not the Philippines. So yes, and June is not a prostitute. Okay, so we're not smearing her name. We're just going off of what we've seen and heard, in the public media and what she put out there on her public social media. Yeah. Yes,
She's
exactly.
nice lady. I met her in person. She's nice, well spoken.
Yeah. Okay, so we did mention
Just confused.
earlier. Yeah, we
Very
did
confused.
mention that the nanny of Wendi Adelson's then boyfriend, was impregnated by Charlie and has a child with him. So that child is probably about 4 years old now.
Oh, interesting that I hadn't noticed before, but I heard it at this trial. I think it was at this trial from June, is that she met Charlie while she was dating the other doctor that is a friend of Charlie.
Yeah, his roommate.
Yeah, his roommate. So they met, and then a year later, I guess, after she and the doctor broke up, then he went after her.
Yeah, and that's kind of sounds unprofessional, but he asked one of his patients to get June's phone number and then had his office staff call June. I'm like, why would you involve your employees with your attempts to try to get some? That's just tacky. And yeah. So I wonder, I wonder if June can go crawling back to Dr. Obed, the former roommate that she had been dating a long time ago, and that's how she first met Charlie, right? He sounds like a much better cat.
He was on the witness list, and I don't think he testified. That sucks. I mean, I wish, right? He didn't testify at this trial. Dr. Obed.
Yeah, I thought that would have been interesting to hear what did Jerome Obed know and what did he see? Because if he's his roommate, he probably knew a lot about Charlie's habits or behaviors, and maybe, I don't know if he knew about the big stash of cash.
I wonder if I have his deposition transcript. I may have that. Maybe we should do a reenactment.
Oh, that would be interesting. Yes, I would love to hear more about what his former roommate had to say.
Yeah, I have to look it up and see if I have that. Fancy Fiction, if you have it and you want to do it as a joint project, let me know.
Yeah.
Somebody will have to play Dr. Obed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd be totally.
Hey, you could play Tara Kawas. You could play Tara Kawas asking the questions.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if I can really put on was it a Jamaican accent?
You can always fake it. That's what I do. I fake all my accents. They're horrible, but
Katie is innocent.
Yes.
She didn't do it.
We add a little fun to the whole process of seeking justice. Sorry, Dan.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's why I still need to watch your recreation of that family law deposition involving Wendi Adelson. Yeah.
You just have to, like when you need something to laugh, then you should go watch it. But you need to be put in a good mood.
Yeah. Okay. Why isn't the mother or father Adelson put on the stand for this trial? Well, I mean, they just refused to cooperate, right?
If they would be put on the stand, they would plead the Fifth Amendment. So the question is, why wouldn't the state use them to force them to testify by giving them use immunity? So unless they really needed to, in the case of Wendi Adelson, they wanted to use her to give some more of the background of the motive for this murder and also to identify some of the people who were on wiretap phone calls. That's why they forced Wendi. If they don't have to, it would look bad. I mean, can you imagine how bad? It already looked bad that the state had to put Wendi, who is a suspect, on the witness stand, and she's out walking about free. Now, can you imagine put the whole family up, and giving them some kind of immunity? So it was bad enough that they had to do it with Wendi. They wouldn't want to do it with anyone else unless they had to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, let's move on. The other thing that I wanted to cover was the Magbanua family issues. So in some of the other live streams, people were asking, where is Katie's family? How come she doesn't have anybody there to support her at her trial? And so doing some sleuthing and reading and stuff. So her mother died of cancer back in, I think, January of 2017. So that's very sad. And she totally milked that for all it was worth to try to, force herself to cry on the stand and look sympathetic. I'm not sure what's going on with her father, but I would assume the father is kind of elderly and living around the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. So it was probably too tough on him to travel up to Tallahassee.
Never even heard of him. So I don't remember ever hearing about him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea. He might still be alive. But then she has these two older brothers. And there was one brother, Eric, who owned a Taekwondo studio in Gainesville. And his profile is now taken off of that karate studio's website. And
is it karate or Taekwondo?
Or Taekwondo. Yeah, there's a difference, right? Yeah, I should know because I used to do Taekwondo. But so, I mean, it sounded like that brother Eric was sort of successful. I mean, he seemed like a nice guy. People liked going to his Taekwondo school. And but then earlier this year, he got sued by his HOA, probably because he didn't pay his HOA dues or violated some HOA rules. Usually it's because you failed to pay your HOA dues. So he's possibly being foreclosed on. And to top things off, around March or April, he got sued by one of his former employees for violating the wage and hour laws and the fair labor standards. So he's being involved in a federal court lawsuit. And his attorney is someone from a firm where the other brother works doing IT. So that oldest brother, it sounded like he's somewhat successful. He got not only a college degree, but also an MBA, and he works in IT. But his now ex-wife was arrested and charged for embezzling over $1 million from her former employer. So that was just in the news within.
What's the name of the older employer and the older brother who had the wife who was arrested?
I think it's something like Constantine.
I see.
Something like that. But
the one is Eric and the other one is Constantine.
Yeah, I think it's Eric with a K. So, I looked up on Pacer yesterday to find out more details about that lawsuit that the Taekwondo owner brother is involved in. Yeah, so that guy has enough legal problems as it is. And then the other brother, who I believe is the oldest brother, he got divorced from that woman, Samantha Magbanua.
The one who was charged with embezzlement?
Yeah. So it looks like, I kind of feel like maybe the timeline of things is maybe she got arrested and then he decided that he was going to divorce her. And then sometimes people get divorced right around the time of being arrested because they want to save the family assets. So I don't know if it's really because, he wanted to be divorced from her, or was it more to save their assets or whatever. But so I don't know what's going on with that lady, with Katie's former sister-in-law's criminal case. But it was amazing. It's like she transferred thousands and thousands of dollars in a short time period. I mean, how could she be so
That was in Florida, right?
Yes, it was in Florida.
I mean,
she was working for some accounting firm.
Was it? Do you know which county it was? Was it a federal case or a state case?
I'm not sure, but if you Google Samantha Magbanua, you should be able to see her mugshot.
Okay, you can keep talking. I'll see if I can dig it up.
Yeah, but I mean, I just think it's weird. I mean, like, why would this lady, does she have a mental illness or something? Because, like, usually when people embezzle from their employers, they do it little by little so that nobody detects it. But this lady was just going bonkers, like wiring tens of thousands of dollars out of the accounting firm's account. I'm like, why did she think she could get away with that? I mean, it's an accounting firm. You would think there would be more oversight than that. But, she took out well over $1 million in a short time period. And then finally somebody from her employer's firm realized that, and she got arrested. And I have no idea what's happened with that in the last year or two. So some people were thinking, well, maybe that's where Katie got the money to pay her attorneys. I don't know. I mean,
I just think that if there was any connection to the family that of Katherine Magbanua, if they were paying for her attorney's fees, and we're talking about a lot of money, 2 high-priced lawyers involved, Teraka was for sure involved even before Katie was arrested. To me, that doesn't make any sense. that they're paying for it. But is it possible? It's possible. But I would think that they would plaster that all over the newspapers everywhere. They would talk everywhere about how this is an amazing story of a family that supports this poor little Katie. They're taking out mortgages and everything to support their precious, innocent girl who was wrongfully charged with murder in connection with whatever happened with Dan Markel. And so the family would be supporting her vocally, openly, in person, on the media, and so on and so forth. Instead, what we have is some weird agreement that was discussed in camera with the judge, where nobody knows, right, exactly who's paying for Katie. So to me, that doesn't make any sense that somebody in her family is financing the defense.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Doesn't it make sense that they would use it for their benefit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see. Okay. Well, this is a question everybody wants to know or keeps asking. Can Katie still turn on the Adelsons if the state offers her a deal? Is her case in repeal? Well, it's not in repeal or appeal yet because they still haven't even had the sentencing.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And I think she could still turn on them, but it's kind of weird, though, after all these years of maintaining her innocence or saying she had nothing to do with it.
Yes, it can happen.
Yeah.
And we don't know if they saved anything in their back pockets, and who could she testify against if she can, right? So I think that the reason why I think it's logical to conclude. I read the article from the Tallahassee Democrat. Good job, Democrat, and getting there in that interview. They interviewed Christopher DeCoste. He stayed behind an extra week, I think, after the trial, met with his client. So my assumption is that he has been trying to talk to the state. I'm assuming, based on that he's trying to work something out. And sentencing hasn't been set yet. The judge announced at the trial that it's going to be in 1 month, and we're already 2 weeks past and hasn't even been set. Strange. So,
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm looking up this lady, but I can't find anything yet. So.
Okay. Yeah. So, anyway, I mean, I just find that this is just like a really weird, bizarre, sordid case, and there are so many characters involved that it's kind of like I don't know, it makes you really think a lot about psychology and what's going on behind the scenes, and why does June keep staying with Charlie even after he becomes a suspect in the murder of his own brother-in-law, and she doesn't think there's anything wrong or weird with the way he or his parents are acting around her. She did say something about how Charlie would only say that his former brother-in-law had been shot or murdered, and then he would.
All right, hold on. May I interrupt you?
Yes, you found something.
I found there's the records. So.
Oh, good.
Can I share too or no?
Sure.
I don't know if I can. Oh, what's this?
Can you?
I believe I may be able to. Let's see.
Okay. Yeah. Do you see a share button at the bottom?
Yeah, I know how to do it. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, you've done StreamYard plenty of times. Okay.
I just didn't know that if I could do it as a guest. Can you see it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Now I added it. Okay, so what's that?
See if I can make it bigger. So this is as a felony against first-degree felony, modification of sentence. It's about Samantha Ches Magbanua. And what does it say? Let's see. The charges were filed. The offense date is 9/14/2017. Charge was grand theft, first degree. On 3/13/18. I guess that's when she was charged. Let me see if I can just go to the bottom. So there was an amended plea, change of plea on September 19, 2019. Probation, community control. Here's the sentence. It says 9/24/2019 and gives a sentence. So maybe 2 years probation.
That's it?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
What? 2 years probation for stealing?
I'm trying to figure out. Okay, restitution set. So there was going to be a restitution hearing. The defendant paid $273,000 in open court. in check to the victims. So she paid $273,000. Confinement, minimum, not maximum 10 years. I need to look her up on the DOC to see whether there's anything about her. So 11/04/2021, motion requesting order directing state's response. What is going on? Can I open any of this? Okay, here, let's take a look at the defense motion to modify sentence.
Okay, thanks. I had no idea.
See it?
Well, it's really small and fuzzy on my screen.
I'm gonna see if I can fix that. Hold on. Let me switch the page.
Thank you, Tuan.
So I'm gonna stop this one and I'm gonna share that one. Hold on.
At this point, I don't know if Wendi will also be arrested because, yeah, I'm not sure, but hopefully there's more evidence out there that we haven't heard.
All right, so this should be easy to read. Amended motion to reduce and modify sentence. Can you see it well?
Yes, yes.
All right, so I can scroll through this and we can all read it.
Cool.
And go from there. So, statement of facts. Date of sentence was 2019. She pled guilty. My sentence for one count of she was given 10 years in Florida State Prison plus 15 years of probation. I fully understand the seriousness of my actions and in consequence the sufferings of my victims, my ex-employers. However, I'm requesting, why is it only this one page? Weird.
Darn, only one page.
So she got 10 years in prison.
Oh.
10 years. Okay, so it was just, I was reading some case comments and it looks like the appellate court also affirmed, so there was an appeal done and it affirmed it in 2020. I guess she was trying to, I don't know what she was appealing because she did a plea. So,
Okay, well, that sounds more like it than 10 years in prison.
I wonder why only the first page? Let me see if there's any way I can get the rest. So, unfortunately, I can only. Next, hold on. Oh, here we go. I figured it out. So now I have to stop the share. We'll go to page 2. Do you want to?
Oh.
Do you want?
Sure.
All right.
Okay,
So
so remove this.
Remove this one. I'm going to add the new screen. So I have to do a page. So it says that you reconsider. Why don't you read it?
Oh, I can't really see it too well because
you can see it. Oh, let me increase the size. I'll let you read it.
Oh, okay. Here. Okay. That you reconsider because the whole experience of being arrested, staying in Paul Ryan Detention Facility, and then transferred Lowell Correctional Institution main unit in Ocala, Florida. Being away from my 4 children. Wow, I didn't know they had 4 kids. For the past 15 months has had a profound impact on them and me, and I deeply regret my selfish actions. Should have thought about that earlier. I was under duress from personal problems and the extreme pressure and influence of a witch who took advantage of my vulnerability. Was that Katie? That led me to make the wrong
We'll find out. We'll find out, I guess.
At my place of employment, a witch who took advantage of her vulnerability. Now I see I sacrificed my moral standards and did not rely on our Lord God for his guidance and resolution in my life. I wholeheartedly promise never to do it again. I have been a model inmate at my current facility. My level of security is minimum. I live with the general population is in the education and vocation dormitory. My assigned job is Teacher's Aide for the Compass program, a transitional program that prepares the ladies to become productive members of the society once they are released. My 4 minor children, oh, that's sad, need me more at home. Therefore, I kindly ask you to reconsider my 10-year sentence to 21 months in state prison, which is the minimum guidelines of my score sheet. This way I can return to the workplace and steal some more money and return the final restitution to my ex-employers. On my sentencing day, I voluntarily returned 1/3 of my total restitution. 10 years in state prison would greatly delay the proper restitution that is due to my ex-employers. I would welcome the opportunity to serve 21 months or anything else that you deem appropriate rather than spend 10 years in prison. Thank you for your time to reconsider my sentencing from September 24th, 2019, and to consider an alternative sentence.
Yes.
Okay,
and I wonder, who is this witch?
Yeah, who's that? Is that Katie? I don't know.
I'm going to see if I can open the third page. 1 second.
Okay.
Let me see.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I'm such a good person, even though I stole roughly $1.1 million from my employer.
Yeah, I'm just reading what it says on this page. Okay, so it just says what she's asking for. Let me see what the next page says.
Okay.
Just a certificate of service, and then the copy of the envelope. So that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's about it. It's well over an hour now. And so you guys be sure to check out James's channel, which is Deep Dive True Crime. And how come you have more than one channel? Are they slightly different things on your different channels?
Because I work so hard that if I put everything in one channel, it would perform poorly. I basically, what I'm trying to do is deep dive would eventually be only about deep dive on raw materials from cases. Crime and Justice by Mentour Lawyer is more about where I have talk shows and analysis and things like that. That's the plan. And then the Interrogation Room, which is the final channel, will be just interrogations, videos in interrogation rooms with a higher quality. And I'm also planning on a specific way of doing the introduction for each case at the very beginning. So I have plans for that channel that are going to happen in the future. I enjoy it. I think, why not? If I can handle 3, why not? Right? So I definitely work hard on it. So yeah.
Okay. So is this the correct channel name?
Crime and Justice by Mentour Lawyer is my second channel.
Okay, by Mentour Lawyer. Okay. And then what's the third channel called?
The third channel is called The Interrogation Room.
What do you have there so far?
1,000 subscribers, 1,010, and I have just a few videos. So I just started it. Yeah. That's
okay.
It.
Well, I didn't know about it, but I'll be sure to go and subscribe later today. So
yeah. So you only have this channel. One question I do want to ask you, just in general, what is the overall theme and goal of your channel? What kind of videos do you have? Because obviously I'm going to put this video on my channel, and there's going to be a lot of subscribers that are going to consider whether to subscribe to you. So give them a pitch about you and your channel and why they should subscribe.
Okay. Well, because I'm going to cover a myriad of topics that have to do with the legal community, maybe ones that have more of an Asian American angle. But obviously, if you've seen some of the videos on my channel, I do have guests that are not Asian. In fact, it's actually kind of hard for me to find more Asian American attorneys that are willing to be on my channel. So I do have other things that are tips to law students or people in the legal community. But I have started realizing that if I want to get more views, I need to do a more general kind of popular culture type stuff. Like when I did the live streams about the Depp and Heard case and then the Dan Markel case, that definitely drew the interest of a lot more people compared to, how to start your own solo law practice. That's too nichey, right? Like
maybe I should watch that.
Huh?
Maybe I should watch that one.
Oh, okay. Well, I have a bunch of videos about that also. So I'm still kind of
I already have a firm, but I always love to learn. Every day you can learn something. So
yeah. I mean, it seems like you've practiced even longer than I have, so I'm sure you already know all the tricks of the trade and stuff, and how to run a law practice.
I'm always learning.
Yeah. So I just want to bring attention to some causes that I personally really care about. So that's why I was really happy to find other people and other attorneys who really care about Dan Markel or the Dan Markel case and the trials that have been going on. So it's really amazing to be able to find people thanks to YouTube. And as I mentioned before,
what drew you to this case, Dan Markel?
Well, I mean, it was partly because partly because of my ex-husband being a law professor, and then we got divorced, and part of the contention between us in our marriage was because I always resented him because I had to move to North Carolina and sacrifice my career a bit because of his career, because he got the tenure track law professor job. Sure. And that was the same theme in the Adelson's relationship too, was that Wendi hated being in Tallahassee, Florida. And, you know, Dan was the legal superstar who had the real tenure track legal, you know, law professor job, where she was a spouse that kind of got dragged along unwillingly. So that was the impetus to this whole, you know, custody battle and the murder for hire, was because she wanted to be able to move away with the sons and get what she wanted, because she couldn't stand living in Tallahassee and wanted so badly to go away that she would, you know, possibly take.
Well, good to know that you did not pick the hit one option. Or your family didn't.
Yeah, I mentioned on that other podcast we were guests on it. It's called Surviving the Survivor. We were both guests on a podcast last week to talk about the Markel case and the Katie Magbanua trial. And so I mentioned that my ex-husband actually half jokingly said to me, "Thanks for not having me killed," you know, after this whole Dan Markel case came up. And it was kind of similar to our situation, where we had to move to a place I didn't really want to move because of his job being a law professor. So, let's answer one more question here. What's the maximum sentence you think they'll give Katie? Life, right?
I mean, she has a minimum mandatory life in prison without parole. So unless she works out a deal, she's going to get life for sure. But I do have to ask you two more questions before you wrap it up. Number one, do you play tennis?
Oh, not really. I'm very, very bad at tennis. I took a tennis class at Berkeley.
Sure. All right. So if you're ever in Tallahassee, you know, we can go to the tennis court, hit a few balls.
Oh my God. I think I would, no way.
And how awesome are you at figure skating?
Oh, well, that would be funny. That would be like me asking you, you know, oh, come and figure skate with me next time.
I would try. I am, you know, I can, you know, at least stay up most of the time on the figure.
So you've actually gone skating before?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, I can't even remember the last time I played tennis. It was probably back in college. So yeah.
So how good were you at figure skating?
Oh, well,
competitions and stuff?
I wasn't really that good as a kid. I started too late when I was 12 years old. So mostly it was group lessons and then a few private lessons. But I really got into skating again after college when I dropped out of Hastings Law School in San Francisco. So I started skating a lot at the Oakland Ice Center and at the rinks around San Francisco, and then started competing in adult skating competitions when I was at the right age. And I even competed at the National Adult Figure Skating Championships and got a pewter medal in my division back in Dallas. Yeah.
So do you have any figure skating movies on your videos on your channel?
Yeah, they're somewhere way deep on my channel from like 2012 or something, you know.
I'm going to go find that, because I also have an interest in that part of.
Okay, well, it's not really that amazing or whatever, but I can only do single jumps.
Well,
and obviously, on a good day,
me playing tennis, you know, is not amazing either, but it's funny.
Yeah, but I don't think people come to our channels because they want to watch us like doing.
I know they don't.
Doing mediocre at sports at our age.
I know. You know, people just have learned to tolerate my insistence on people watching me doing silly stuff on the field. So anyway.
Okay, well, thank you guys all for being out there watching us and caring about the Dan Markel case. And we hope someday there will be true justice for Dan Markel and his whole family, you know, once all the pins start falling, right? Or whatever the little aphorism might be. Oh, whatever happened to 1.1 million. Yeah, I don't know what happened to that money that the sister-in-law took.
The witch might have taken that. The witch.
Yeah, she was like hypnotized under a trance or something, under a spell. And gave her money away. Yeah.
So anyway, she's going to be sending me a copy of this video. I'm going to put it on my channel sometime. I'm not sure if it's going to be on Crime and Justice or Deep Dive. But also thanks everybody for watching. Since this is going to be on my channel, I also got to say goodbye. So thanks everybody for watching. Till next time, Mentour Lawyer.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Oh yeah.
So you can wrap it up.
They can definitely do that. Yes. Okay. Thank
you.
Don't
forget to subscribe to her channel as well.
Yes.
Can you put your name on it? Put your name on the screen. On the channel.
Oh yeah. So my channel. Sorry, I'm trying to juggle the microphone here. Asian American Legal. Chris. Sorry about that. Some housekeeping things here. Okay.
It was a pleasure, Judy.
Really yes, thank you so much. I'm really glad to have met you. Thanks to YouTube and all the people out there that have been paying attention to this case. We really appreciate you guys. Okay, take care. Okay, you can stay on a bit. We'll say goodbye to everybody.
Bye-bye.